How you guys doing? What's going on, yogis? I just got done doing this yoga thing, and it was, I guess it was like something about diet. I don't even know. I have a mentor who is really into something called Ashtanga yoga, and so what Ashtanga yoga is it's a series basically called primary series. It's like really hard, and this can be confusing because there's also something called Ashtanga, which is the 8 limbs of yoga. Okay, and so like when people say Ashtanga, it could mean a couple of different things, and like so anyway. So I have this mentor in Ashtanga, which is the series yoga that I built a wall at their house, and they were like, hey, to thank you, I'm gonna pay for you to go to this course, right? And like I wasn't very excited about it, but I even told them, like, don't worry, I don't want to go. I basically said, like, save the money or whatever, and they're like, no, it's super important, and I want to support this person, they're really good, and I really, I want them to have people there, and I know that you love yoga, and so you'll like to go. And I have to be really careful, right, about what wells I drink from, I guess is the right way to say it, right? Like where I go to get my information, or where I go to get my cup full, because I've trained with people that really know what they're doing, right? Like Swami Phillips. I mean, he taught Eastern philosophy at the University of Texas for 36 years, right? I mean, he's been to India over 40 times. Like he knows what he's doing, right? So that's one of my mentors. And so there are a lot of people in the world, and I've seen this in martial arts too, that run around and they act like they know what they're doing, and they really think they do. I mean, they've been told that this thing, and like, hey, this words mean something else, and blah blah blah. And like, it's the thing about translations is like people kind of like they like stretch things, right? So they kind of want it to bend towards their narrative, and like we all do it. So I'm not trying to like indict anybody, but it's just natural that you're going to bend a translation towards what you want anyway. So allegedly this thing was supposed to be about diet or something. I don't even really know what it was about, but I got to the teacher, and they taught class this morning, and I mean, they did primary series, which again, it's the same thing every time. So I mean, I'm not like overly impressed by you being able to do this, to teach this thing, because it's the same class every time, right? So cool. All right, you're a yoga instructor, great. And there's certain personality types that I just don't jive with, okay? And one of those personality types is the Northern Californian, right? They have this way about them. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. There's something about them where, like, everybody I've ever met from Northern California has irritated the fuck out of me. My own personal bias, like, I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, they're from Northern California, and they just have this way of talking, this way of being, this way of breathing. I just don't like it. So, words. So they start with this. We're going to discuss the Yoga Sutras and Hatha Yoga and go over terms so that we can, what I mean, we all know that we're discussing things in the same way, is how they start the class, and they hand out this 2-page printout, right? Great. Well, I see this, and it's talking about Ashtanga Yoga and the 8 limbs of yoga and the yamas and the niyamas. If you don't know what any of that is, it's okay. It's yoga shit. It's like prescriptions for life, what you're supposed to do. And so one of them is like nonviolence and, sexual behavior. And then, it gets to like food and like how you eat and something called brahmacharya, which is also like sexual behavior. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff here about how you conduct yourself in the world and how you're supposed to do things. So we get to this thing, which is Isvara Pranadanhana. Okay, this is like one of the ways to enlightenment. Okay, there's lots of ways. You can do it through sex, you can do it through food, you can do it through asana and yoga, you can do it through meditation, you can do it through there's lots of ways to get a taste of enlightenment, okay? And one of the ways they say the best way and the surest way of attaining your goal of being enlightened or becoming a realized being is something called Isvara Pranadanhana. Now, from this person's perspective, they said, well, if you go to different books, it says it means different things. And that's what they were trying to sell it as. No, not this one. Isvara Pranadanhana means one thing. One thing, that's it. That's all it's ever going to mean. Okay? And what it actually means is complete and total dependence upon God. That's it. Okay? And so in yoga, one of the ways you can attain enlightenment is absolute and complete dependence upon God. Okay? Some people get really uncomfortable talking about God. They don't like it. It's not, And so how this person tap danced around this particular issue was they said, well, I say it's about context. And so it can just mean you just change the context. So if you hear Isvara Pranadanhana, it just means your relationship to food, you can just change the context. And they just started talking, and my ears just turned off, right? I can't take you seriously, right? It was hard, because they does everybody agree with what I say, right? They had this moment where you could challenge what they said. Well, I mean, you're teaching the class, and you're in a room full of yoga instructors, okay? That's the thing, is over half the room, right, are yoga instructors, myself included, right? And so we all just sit here and look at it, okay, no, you're saying that Isvara Pranadanhana means just change the context, which is, it's not. I've read several versions of the Yoga Sutras, and that is not what it says in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. They said, in the Bhagavad Gita it says Isvara Pranadanhana is something else. That's not true. And there's another book called it doesn't matter, but there's another yoga-based book, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which everybody goes, does not even worried about this, but it does loosely talk about it. But again, so I'm going over this battle with you because they tried to teach this whole class, and I don't even know what the fuck they were talking about. The whole class, it was kind of infuriating. And then on top of it, so the information wasn't good. They tried to change terms and whatever. And they just had this really annoying personality just on top of all of it. They had an obnoxious laugh. Wasn't a good teacher. Wasn't really well prepared. So anyway, I have no idea why my mentor wanted me to go do this thing. I don't see any value in it. Now, I actually have an eating disorder, right? Now, I don't advertise this. I don't tell everybody, hey, by the way, I'm anorexic, right? It doesn't usually come up. But it's just so funny to me because people just assume, because I'm a guy, I don't know anything about eating disorders, and I don't have a problem, right? And so I come out and my mentor's well, it's so much easier for guys and blah, 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 and you've never had a problem with weight and this and that. And, I'm looking at them, and they saw me when I came back to yoga, and I weighed 230 pounds, and I was type 2 diabetic, and I was really sick. Right? And so they're talking, and as they're talking, they just stop because it was this, the whole time in their mind, there was this competition about how I wasn't ever going to understand about an eating disorder, which I go to therapy every Monday because I have an eating disorder. That's pretty funny, huh? And I got some other stuff going on. But yeah, and then on top of it was you've never had to deal with managing your weight. Yeah, I have, right? All this judgment, and all this people, girls, they want to tell you how hard it is and how you don't understand and all this other stuff. And they're so busy telling you like how you don't know. When actually I qualify like probably more than most girls, right? Like I actually have an anorexia diagnosis, Anyway, I'm ranting today. But just be careful where you get your information. Like I don't understand why this person decided to get up and change words in Sanskrit, what they mean. Especially like trying to teach people about how to take care of their body and have a relationship with their self. And they're scared to even mention what the ancient texts say. Like, you don't have to believe in God to regurgitate what the page says. I mean, it's just like infuriating. I hate when people just deliberately give out bad information because they're not brave enough. Hi, sorry, I didn't mean to be in your way. Because they're not brave enough to acknowledge the truth, right? Yeah, so anyway, that's my rant for today. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Namaste.